Imagine this. Tomorrow morning, your alarm doesn't go off. You don't check your emails. You don't rush through breakfast. You don't sit in traffic. You don't clock in. Nobody expects you to be anywhere. Nobody pays you. Nobody fires you. There are no careers, no resumes, no bosses, no weekends, because there are no weekdays either. Just one question. How do you survive today? For almost every human alive today, that sounds terrifying. No paycheck means no food. No work means no house. No income means, well, everything falls apart. But here's something strange. For about 99% of human history, jobs didn't exist. Not in the way we understand them. There were no accountants, no electricians, no software engineers, no delivery drivers, no dentists. No office workers staring at spreadsheets wondering if this meeting could have been an email. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived without employment, and somehow they survived. Not only survived, they raised children, made friends, invented language, created music, painted caves, buried their dead, laughed, fell in love, built entire cultures. So, what exactly were they doing all day? Because if nobody had a job, where did all the time go? The answer turns out to reveal something surprising about modern life. Because ancient humans were never unemployed. They were just working, in a completely different way. Let's go. First, we need to get rid of the word job, because it's much younger than most people think. For the overwhelming majority of our species' existence, people didn't exchange hours for money. Money itself didn't exist. There were no salaries, no employers, no labor market. There was only survival. Every morning, you woke up with a list of problems: food, water, shelter, firewood, children, predators, weather. Those problems didn't arrive neatly organized between 9 and 5. They arrived whenever they wanted. Life wasn't divided into work time and free time. Life simply was. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have noticed something fascinating. Groups like the Hadza in Tanzania or the San people of southern Africa don't separate life into categories the way we do. Gathering food, talking, teaching children, repairing tools, walking, laughing, resting. These all flow together naturally. Imagine walking with friends through the forest. Along the way, you collect berries, someone spots honey, another person points out fresh animal tracks, children ask questions, an elder tells a story, someone repairs a spear, everyone laughs at a joke. Was that work or leisure? The question almost stops making sense. Now, compare that with modern life. You drive to work, sit under fluorescent lights, complete one specialized task. Drive home, then begin your real life. Ancient humans never experienced that split. Their work was their life, and their life was shared. Now here's something that surprises almost everyone. Hunter-gatherers actually spend less time acquiring food than many modern people spend working. That sounds impossible. We've all been told survival in the wild required endless struggle, but decades of anthropological research paint a different picture. In many environments, adults often gathered enough food after only a few hours of activity each day. Of course, this varied enormously. A drought, a harsh winter, or a failed hunt could make life brutally difficult. But during normal conditions, people weren't working 16-hour days. In fact, anthropologist Marshall Solins famously described hunter-gatherers as the original affluent society. Not because they had everything, because they wanted relatively little. Think about that. Modern wealth often means constantly increasing consumption. Ancient wealth meant your needs were already being met. If today's food had been gathered, why keep working? There wasn't another mortgage payment waiting. No promotion, no quarterly report. More wasn't always better. Enough was enough. That changes how an entire society thinks. Now, what filled the rest of the day? Social life. And this is where ancient humans become strangely familiar. Researchers observing hunter-gatherer groups consistently report enormous amounts of conversation. People talk while walking, while gathering, while cooking, while resting. Stories, jokes, advice, arguments, gossip, endless gossip. It turns out, humans have probably been discussing other humans for hundreds of thousands of years, and strangely, that wasn't wasted time. Evolutionary psychologists believe gossip helped maintain cooperation. If someone repeatedly refused to share food, everyone learned about it. If someone was generous, people remembered. Reputation became one of humanity's most valuable currencies long before money ever existed. Information was survival. Then came children. Modern parents often raise children inside relatively small households. Ancient humans rarely did. Children belonged to everyone. Grandparents watched them. Older siblings taught them. Aunts, uncles, friends, neighbors, entire communities participated. Anthropologists sometimes call humans cooperative breeders, meaning we evolved expecting many adults to help raise each child. That's one reason human childhood lasts so incredibly long. Learning everything required to survive takes years. You need to recognize hundreds of plants, animal behavior, weather patterns, tool making, fire maintenance, social rules, navigation, medicine. None of that happens inside a classroom. It happens simply by living alongside experienced adults. Education wasn't separate from life. Life was education. Now let's talk about something people almost never associate with prehistoric humans. Play. Adults played. A lot. Not childish games exactly, but throwing spears for practice, running races, wrestling, music, dancing, storytelling competitions, rhythm, imitation, laughter. These weren't luxuries. They were training. Children learn through play because play safely rehearses real life. Adults never completely lose that instinct. In many hunter-gatherer societies, the line between practice, competition, entertainment, and education barely exists. You're becoming better at surviving. Without realizing you're training, evolution is clever like that. And perhaps the biggest misconception of all, ancient humans were not constantly terrified. Movies love portraying prehistoric life as one endless emergency, running from predators, starving every afternoon, fighting every neighboring tribe. Reality appears considerably more balanced. Yes, life could become unimaginably dangerous. Injury, disease, famine, violence. These were very real. But humans also spent enormous amounts of time simply existing. Watching sunsets, listening to stories, making music, carving tools, decorating objects, painting cave walls with astonishing artistic skill. People don't create beautiful art if every waking second is spent escaping death. The existence of prehistoric art tells us something profound. Humans had enough security, enough spare time, and enough imagination to create beauty. That's an extraordinary achievement. Now, when did jobs actually appear? The answer begins around 10,000 years ago. Agriculture. Once humans started farming, everything changed. Fields couldn't be abandoned. Crops demanded schedules. Harvests required storage. Storage required protection. Villages became towns. Towns became cities. Soon, some people stopped growing food altogether. Instead, they made pottery, forged metal, built houses, governed communities, collected taxes. Specialization was born. Eventually, money appeared, then markets, then wages, then employers, then careers. And somewhere along the way, work became something you traveled to, instead of something woven into everyday life. The Industrial Revolution pushed this transformation even further. Factories introduced clocks, shifts, punch cards, standardized hours. For the first time in history, millions of humans organized their lives according to machines rather than seasons. The modern job is astonishingly recent. Evolution hasn't fully caught up, which explains something many people quietly feel today. That strange sense that work sometimes feels disconnected from life. Your ancestors rarely experienced that separation. When they worked, they were usually surrounded by family, friends, children, conversation, movement, nature. Purpose was immediately visible. Gather berries. People eat. Repair shelter. People stay warm. Find water. Children survive. Cause and effect were immediate. Today, many of us spend months contributing tiny pieces to enormous systems we'll never fully understand. Neither system is inherently better. Modern life has given us medicine, electricity, universities, the internet, a lifespan our ancestors could scarcely imagine. But it has also changed our relationship with work more dramatically than almost any other point in history. So, what did ancient humans do without jobs? Everything. They hunted, gathered, raised children, built shelters, maintained fires, made tools, shared food, solved problems, told stories, played games, created art, learned from elders, taught the young, watched the stars, laughed around campfires. Their days weren't empty because they lacked employment. Their days were full because survival, family, community, and meaning were never separated into different categories. They didn't work to build a life. Their work was life. And maybe that's the strangest realization of all. The modern question, what do you do for a living, would have completely confused an ancient human, because to them, living was what they were already doing.